think that you cannot get it all right. As I just heard one of your speakers, I didn't get the name before, in the economy, so far, I think that he must be commended for the steps that he has taken, how sustainable it is, but one has to wait. But I think that the depreciation of the CD has been arrested. I think that even though to some extent artificially done, and there's a sign as an economist, some dichotomy or disjoint between fiscal and monetary policies. But look, all governments learn on the job, even though he claims to be of experience. The type of economic situation he's in, his experience is almost useless because you have never had this haircut before. So better be humble and learn. But I believe that they have the capacity of reconciling both the economic, the physical, and monetary policies. We are these specific things, deliverables, when it comes to education, a lot of noise, and also in the health area, Mahama case, we can do it for a short time on a sustainable basis. The whole health system should be addressed. And I think that they must be humble to build upon the past government's initiatives and come out to say that Agenda 111 and these, we can do this and we cannot do this. I have a program, rather than just almost coming up with another Mahama case. We are not talking about what Mahama can care, but what a national sustainable agenda. But on the whole, I think that John has done very well in his first 120. But at the same time, I can see some serious dangers, the seeds being sown, first of all, undermining governance institutions. What is happening at the judiciary is a very serious matter. In fact, I talked about it in January, and I knew they were going to do it, but some of us have a responsibility to say that if you undermine the judiciary, all of us will pay a heavy price. Because in any country where there has been a civil war, it has been because, in most countries, not every country, because people lose confidence in the judicial system. And I think that the weaknesses, if any, and no institution has no weaknesses, will have been dealt with in a much more refined way, not to make the judiciary become a political battleground. Because if you go and appoint now 7 at a stroke, justices of the Supreme Court, attempt to remove the Chief Justice, and then go on and put in an obviously sympathetic one to the NDC. Yes, he's the most senior member, and I have high regard for him. But you know that there was so much rumor in, as it 2014, or where there was the petition, was it in 2012?
2012, yes.
Yes, as allegedly having received some bribe and voted in favor of Mahama. You know, these things, Ghanaians have a long memory. And all that I'm praying is this: the outcome of the current processes will not undermine general confidence in the judiciary. Because let me tell you, if that happens, we are all dead.
But Prof, on that score, I mean, there are processes still, issue or precedents still in process. If Mahama is being a judge as going by the book, by the Constitution, what should he do in this regard?
I would like him from commenting directly on that.
Right.
The lawyers call it sub judice.
Yes.
All that saying at this moment that if he, at the end of the process, undermines Ghanaians' trust in the judicial system further and makes the judiciary a subject of political football, so that somebody comes and also wants to appoint 10 judges to the Supreme Court and then remove his appointee, then let me tell you, I'm old, I'm 77 years old, but I'll tell you that some of you have your head rolling on the streets of Ghana, and we have precedents whereby the predecessors of NDC killed 3 judges because they didn't like their previous judgments. That be very careful. Again, this may be a precursor to further undermining the, because they have said it openly by his leading members of his party, of the EC. And so when governance institutions are not managed well, that's what I would say, eventually the society does. And people compare Charlotte Osei to Jean Mensah. Charlotte Osei and her 2 deputies were in the graphic for months or weeks, insulting each other, accusing each other of corruption. Please, I have never seen a high public official in my life who behaved like Charlotte Osei and the deputies. So let us be very careful, say that, oh, Akufo-Addo removed Charlotte Osei. Finally, let me say that as much as I congratulate John for his 120, and anybody who is objective would say he has done very well, we hope he will be able to continue and sustain it, make correction of any lapses, and deliver the Ghana we want. How? That's my conclusion. I think that the Akufo-Addo government in the second term did so badly, that we must be very careful over praising John in 120 days, because in the first term of Akufo-Addo, I think that he performed very well, and then we were almost everybody's hope were dashed with every indicator, economic management, corruption, perception, everything else almost going down the sink. And so, therefore, it is easy when you contrast it to say, hey, he's doing well. But if you're a true Ghanaian, and some of us have been public servants all our life, we can only wish John and the NDC well, because their success will be our success.
Well, just before you go, Prof, I know you have to go, but just before you go, on the